A Pew Research poll shows millions of military veterans support former President Trump over VP Kamala Harris, with veterans' concerns and benefits important issues this election cycle. Joining us now to discuss is former VA Undersecretary Dr. Paul Lawerence. Good morning to you, sir. Good to see you here on the National News Desk.
Good morning, Jan. Thank you.
17 million veterans currently here in the U.S., and we want to break down their support for the presidential candidates. Again, according to a Pew Research poll from last month, we've got 61% who back Trump currently, 37%, you see there in the blue, that supports Harris. How do veterans see the candidates' policies and their impact on this very important voting bloc?
Yeah, veterans, like many other people, know they are not better off than they were 4 years ago. As you know, employment under President Trump was booming. There were 1 million more veterans working pre-pandemic than there are now. Veterans, like others, suffer the cruel tax of inflation. It's up 20%. They're paying more for gas, eggs, housing, all the things veterans buy, and veteran homelessness is rising. So veterans look at the two candidates and have a very positive image of what President Trump did in his 4 years and what were promised but was not done recently.
Dr. Lawerence, I found it interesting when I look at what history has shown us as to which candidate this voting bloc supports. In 2020, I want to show this very quickly if we have it. 60% of veterans voted for Trump, while 39% backed President Joe Biden. In 2016, a very similar number, 61% of veterans voted for Trump, 35% backed Hillary Clinton. So clearly there's some history, there's some precedent with these numbers. They actually haven't shifted very much based on the person running for the party. So how does the GOP differ from Democrats when it comes to addressing veterans issues?
Well, as I just spoke about, Jan, the economy tends to be better under Republicans, but also veterans get a lot of their help and support from the Veterans Administration. It tends to be better run. Again, the contrast with President Trump is clear. He passed laws to give veterans choice for their health care. He passed laws to fire poor performers. He made benefits faster to be obtained. And that's just a contrast with what's going on now. And a good example is that over the last year, the President administration went out of their way to pay bonuses to employees who were not eligible for bonuses and were greatly embarrassed when that was caught. And they've come to Congress again because they've run out of money. They've mismanaged the budget. They've come and said, we need $15 billion. We're behind in helping veterans. So I think veterans see Republicans as better administering their benefits.
When it comes to service, let's take a look at the vice presidential candidates. We know Vance served a 4-year active duty enlistment in the Marine Corps with 2 deployments to Iraq. Walz served 24 years in the National Guard. How do veterans view the vice presidential candidates and their service?
Well, they both had honorable service, and that's pretty fantastic. But as you point out, J.D. Vance comes from a troubled background, goes to high school, wonders what he's going to do, joins the Marines, uses his GI Bill to go to Ohio State and then to Yale, changing his life. That's the American dream. Governor Walz, joins the National Guard. That's great. It's different, serves honorably. But then, of course, when asked about his service, he misrepresents his rank. He misrepresents his service. And the frustrating thing is, of course, as you know, he retired when his team was about ready to be deployed overseas. Veterans really value the concept of team. To be the leader of that team and not to go with them is really just something that that's really shameful.
Veterans benefits also are earned, unlike most government programs. As the former VA Undersecretary, what were some of the biggest issues you saw, and how important is this election for this crucial voting bloc?
Right, you're absolutely right, Jen. These are earned benefits, not entitlements. And one of the things I saw was veterans want their benefits timely and accurately. This is very, very important. The last administration passed a new law to deal with burn pits. That's great, but they didn't spend a lot of time thinking about how to administer them. So veterans are waiting longer and being more frustrated. Benefits promised without having thought through how you're going to deliver them really breeds to distrust, and we don't want the veterans to distrust the system that's fulfilling the promise they made when they enlisted.
Well, God bless you for what you do for all the veterans and all the veterans who have served our country. Former VA Undersecretary Dr. Paul Lawerence, we appreciate you joining us this morning here on the National News Desk.
Thanks, Jan.